We should tell him the truth.
I did what I had to do to protect our world.
It's pretty unfathomably exciting where we're going in this film. It's the most fantastic new phase of Marvel.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
In this story, we are leaping into different universes. But unlocking the multiverse creates a big Pandora's box.
You opened the doorway, and we don't know who or what will walk through it. We're in unknown territory. I think audiences are going to be startled. These other realities invite a plethora of all these new characters.
Telling the stories was such a gigantic endeavor. It had to be large because it had to not only paint a picture of our universe, but of multiple universes.
We need your help.
It was a great opportunity to pair two of the most powerful superheroes together.
It's got a sort of darker tone to it. And with Sam Raimi at the helm, he's a master of that.
We wanted the fans to go, oh, how cool. I mean, that really was our goal. We wanted to give the fans what they wanted, just not exactly what they expected.
The stakes are real. He's literally coming up against versions of himself.
Things just got out of hand.
Welcome back, everyone. Marvel dropped a brand new Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer video with a lot of the actors talking about their characters, so we'll break it all down. There's a bunch of new footage, bunch of Easter eggs, so if you're brand new to the channel, we are doing a giveaway for movie tickets. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave all your theories in the comments below. One of the biggest things that you probably noticed during this featurette is the way they've changed their marketing and the stuff that they're not talking about. Like Patrick Stewart's Professor X, they show you the multiverse Illuminati base. There's a couple of new scenes there too that I'll talk about. But during the footage, when they start talking about the villains and the dangers of the multiverse, Benedict Cumberbatch is only talking about facing the other variants of Doctor Strange as if they're meant to be the villains. Like the big thing they're not talking about is Doctor Strange versus Scarlet Witch. A lot of the footage they have in the older trailers makes that way more clear, so I'll point that out as we go through this footage, like what's actually going on in this scene, because in most of the scenes, they really only give you half of what's actually going on. But they open up with Doctor Strange using the Darkhold to perform this quote-unquote forbidden spell, the multiverse spell that Wong gets really pissed off at him about. All these different spheres that you see him open up and then slam down on the Darkhold is probably related to opening a door to the multiverse. This probably after he goes to Wanda, who has the Darkhold as far as we know, at least until Doctor Strange takes it from her, asking about what she knows of the multiverse, and she starts referencing Vision, talking about how dangerous it could be. Both of them talk about these different dreams that they keep having, these waking nightmares, obviously different kinds of nightmares they're talking about. The nightmare that Doctor Strange is talking about is visions of the multiverse after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, with the multiverse almost collapsing around them. But it sounds like he starts to have visions of this potential even worse outcome for reality, so he wants to find a way into the multiverse to try and prevent that from happening, but inadvertently makes things even worse, which is a very Spider-Man type of problem. Like, we joke about it not being a Spider-Man movie if Spider-Man doesn't cause most of the problems that he winds up having to solve. Same idea with this Doctor Strange movie. Based on some of that other footage of Scarlet Witch telling Doctor Strange that she thinks it's unfair that people think that she's the villain because she breaks, quote-unquote, some of the rules, and they think that he's a hero because he breaks rules, it sounds like there's a big twist at some point during the movie where Doctor Strange learns that it's really MCU Scarlet Witch that he should be afraid of, and she's kind of been orchestrating events, at least up to a certain point, to get him to use the Darkhold to open a door to the multiverse. And a lot of that has to do with America Chavez and her powers to open portals to different universes. That was one of the unexpected things. The way they're explaining it in this movie is that MCU characters have not spent a lot of time traveling physically to other universes, and this is meant to be like one of the first big times that you actually see them do that. Previously, the way they explain it is that you've seen other universes sort of bleed into or come to our universe. Spider-Man No Way Home, probably the best example of that. Characters from other universes coming to our universe. Thank you very much for coming back, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and the other Sinister Six villains.
You know, it's what we do.
But part of what's supposed to be going on is that Scarlet Witch really wants to go to another universe to find a version of Billy and Tommy, but the way they're explaining it in the MCU at least is that as much power she does have with all this chaos magic, she cannot physically travel to other universes without the help of America Chavez. She winds up finding MCU Doctor Strange and Wong after she goes on the run through the multiverse. And a lot of this new footage kind of spells that out. So, for example, there's a scene here of them opening this metal door. This seems like it's actually happening a little bit later in the film because the Christine Palmer variant from the Multiverse Illuminati is with them when they do that. Also, you have the Scarlet Witch variant wearing the plain clothes just covered in oil and what looks kind of like blood. It might just be oil from the Ultron variant robots. There's chaos magic just billowing off of her, and she's coming for them like she wants their blood. So this is all probably happening after she winds up just wrecking the entire Multiverse Illuminati base. So RIP Multiverse Illuminati, you're going to be really cool for the brief period that we see you on screen. But because of some of the other new footage, when they open this door to this weird multiverse-looking space, we actually find out what is in the middle here. That bright light in the previous trailers we can now clearly see is the actual book of the Vishanti. If you're not a longtime Doctor Strange comic book reader, the Vishanti are this trio of really powerful cosmic beings, including Agamotto, the actual sorcerer Agamotto that wound up creating the eye that Doctor Strange is wearing when he opens the door using that special spell. You also notice when he's opening the door, it glows yellow instead of glowing green because he doesn't have the time stone anymore. Thank you very much, older version of Thanos.
Gone. Reduced to atoms.
But now you see them running across these platforms through this really crazy looking space, like they're trying to get the Book of the Vishanti, as if it's some sort of counter to the Darkhold or whatever power Scarlet Witch has during the movie. You also see them being chased by this giant creature that looks like it's laced with chaos magic because it's glowing kind of red. It has the same runes on it that are on the Gargantos looking creature that's coming for them earlier in the movie. We can also now clearly see that when it's yelling at America Chavez and forcing her to open this multiverse portal behind her, this is actually happening inside this same crazy space with the Book of the Vishanti, like whatever this space winds up being. So her being forced to open the portal by MCU Scarlet Witch probably has something to do with her finally getting to an actual version of Billy and Tommy. For those of you asking about this scene of this version of Doctor Strange being blasted by magic, this actually looks like a longer version of the scene of MCU Doctor Strange versus Sinister Strange inside his alternate sanctum that looks all run down. Like, you get a much better look of it back here. Everything looks like it's gone to crap. As he grows that third eye and they start to throw down, he says things kind of got out of hand. So it's kind of the same thing with MCU Scarlet Witch and the Scarlet Witch variant. Like, Scarlet Witch's variant isn't necessarily a bad person, but it sounds like she's being controlled by MCU Scarlet Witch and whatever's going on with the Darkhold. And because they all have this really powerful chaos magic in all these different universes, each version of Scarlet Witch that you run into winds up being a huge potential threat. So when Wong gets really pissed off at MCU Doctor Strange for opening the door, quote-unquote, to the multiverse, that's what he's afraid of. Any potential cosmic threat like Dormammu, but also all these variants that could wind up being very evil. A lot of you have also probably noticed some of the Sam Raimi specific Easter eggs, so there is a pizza Easter egg. It's not the same pizza place from the Spider-Man movies. That was Joe's Pizza because it was in a different part of Manhattan where that was happening. The license plate reads P307. Usually the license plates wind up being Easter eggs for big stories. The only thing I could find is that Avengers 307 was a big Eternal storyline, and obviously there's a bunch of Eternal stuff happening in the background of the MCU right now. The other really cool Sam Raimi Easter egg that a lot of you will notice, especially if you're a connoisseur of a lot of his horror films, especially the Evil Dead series, is the way the camera moves when it's coming in on America Chavez, Doctor Strange, and Wong here. This is happening inside Camartage, and it's when MCU Scarlet Witch is coming for them, and you see the camera zoom in on them and tilt from side to side. That's a horror movie shot taken directly from the Evil Dead series. And the other really interesting scene here is of MCU Scarlet Witch being attacked by what looks like chaos magic bolts. Like, it actually looks like these red chaos magic bolts are firing at her. She's standing in the ruins of this building here. It's hard to tell if this is still Camartage and it's happening during the big attack earlier in the film, or if this is in the Darkhold Temple a little bit later in the film. The only ways I think that happens is if her own magical attack was reflected back at her, or if she were being attacked by the chaos magic creatures protecting the Darkhold Temple here. It actually kind of seems like they're working with them, or if she's controlling them in some way. But if you spotted any new Easter eggs in this footage that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them in the comments below. For those of you asking about the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, I think they're probably going to wait till either later this month or like really early next month when they actually release Doctor Strange 2. We just got a brand new look at Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher, so I'll probably do a video for that at some point this week. We also have a brand new Stranger Things Season 4 trailer coming tomorrow, so that should post next. Everyone click here for my brand new Doctor Strange 2, Wolverine, and X-Men video, and click here for my brand new Thor Love and Thunder first look video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.